The Vindicator, a vessel dedicated to deep space exploration, glided noiselessly through the uncharted reaches of space on the fringes of known human territory. Captain Mara Jensen, a veteran explorer boasting a career spanning 2 decades of interstellar travel, oversaw the extensive array of sensors from the bridge. Her crew, a mix of seasoned experts and enthusiastic young specialists, diligently manned their stations, fine-tuning instruments and scrutinizing data streaming in from the countless stars and planets drifting past. Though the mission itself was routine, its importance couldn't be overstated. Mapping sectors of the recently discovered nebula SX-25, a celestial body teeming with potential for groundbreaking scientific discoveries and valuable resources. As the Vindicator drew closer to a particularly dense cluster within the nebula, its state-of-the-art detection system suddenly blared an alert. An anomaly had been detected. This wasn't just any anomaly. It was a colossal object that had somehow eluded their sensors until now, presenting a mystery unlike any they had encountered before. Lieutenant Hargrove, the ship's science officer, hurried to realign the sensor arrays. "Captain, it's not just cloaked. This technology is unlike anything we've seen before. It materialized out of thin air," he exclaimed, a blend of excitement and apprehension coloring his voice. Mara stepped closer to the main view screen, her gaze fixed on the immense vessel now looming in their path. It was both awe-inspiring and daunting, its architecture suggesting a level of technological sophistication far beyond human capabilities. Its metallic surface gleamed with an array of colors, its sleek design reminiscent more of a predatory creature than a mere spacecraft. Before Mara could issue any commands for a cautious approach, the enigmatic vessel initiated communication. The communications panel flashed with a standard hail signal, yet the ensuing message diverged from any norm. A deep, resonant voice filled the bridge, carrying a subtle vibration that seemed to pulse through the air itself. "Unknown vessel, you venture into Galactic territory. Consider this your sole warning. Flee." The stark simplicity of the warning, delivered with unwavering assurance, sent shivers down Mara's spine. Glancing at her crew, she saw her own apprehension reflected in their expressions. As captain, her foremost obligation lay with her ship and crew, yet withdrawing without comprehending the potential threat could imperil human space. "Initiate communication," Mara instructed her communications officer, her voice resolute despite the racing of her heart. "This is Captain Mara Jensen of the United Earthship Vindicator. We are explorers, not adversaries. Unaware of this sector's ownership, we seek dialogue, not conflict." The response was a lingering silence, heavy with implication. Eventually, the voice returned, now colder if such a thing were possible. "Ignorance is no defense, human. The Galactic Empire does not abide trespassers. You will retreat or face annihilation." As the transmission abruptly ceased, Mara addressed her crew. "Plot a course back to the outer marker," she commanded, her resolve evident. "But maintain sensors at maximum. Record everything. This is more than a withdrawal, it's reconnaissance. We must ascertain our adversary's identity." The Vindicator altered its course, navigating back towards safer confines. Yet the encounter with the Galactic was merely the beginning. It marked the onset of a confrontation that would challenge the resilience of humanity. A palpable tension gripped the crew as they withdrew. Each member understood they carried a solemn message back to Earth. A formidable new force had emerged in the cosmos, and it harbored no hospitality toward outsiders. Back on Earth, the gravity of the Vindicator's encounter spread swiftly through the corridors of power, sending ripples of unease. The video feed capturing the imposing Galactic vessel and its ominous warning played on a secure screen in a conference room nestled deep within the United Earth Defense Headquarters. High-ranking military officials, intelligence analysts, and government dignitaries convened for an impromptu briefing. General Raheem Carter, a seasoned veteran whose ascent through the ranks was marked by astute judgment and unyielding valor, presided over the gathering. His countenance bore a stern resolve as he scrutinized the footage. Within the confines of the room, tension hung heavy, each participant keenly aware of the potentially dire consequences posed by this encounter. "Analysis!" General Carter's commanding voice sliced through the murmurs, commanding attention. Dr. Elena Mirov, the chief intelligence analyst, stepped forward. Her assessment was succinct. The Galactic Empire, as self-identified, lacks any trace within our databases on sentient extraterrestrial civilizations. Their technological prowess surpasses anything we've previously encountered. Initial evaluations indicate mastery in propulsion systems, energy shielding, and cloaking capabilities far exceeding our current capabilities. The room absorbed this revelation with a blend of astonishment and trepidation. The strategic ramifications were stark. Earth found itself ill-equipped for a clash with a foe boasting such technological superiority. General Carter leaned in, his hands gripping tightly. "Options," he demanded. Various military strategies were proposed, spanning from defensive stances to proactive diplomatic maneuvers. Admiral Liu, overseeing the Earth Space Fleet, advocated for a demonstration of strength. "We could deploy the Atlantic Fleet to the sector, demonstrating our resolve," he proposed. General Carter shook his head in disagreement. "Provocation is not my favorite approach when confronting an adversary capable of annihilating our exploration vessel without visible weaponry. We require more intelligence and alliances," General Carter emphasized. The room's attention shifted to Secretary Vivian Chase, the head of the diplomatic corps. "We've initiated contact with the Interstellar Alliance," she reported. "Initial responses vary, but the prospect of a shared threat may foster stronger ties. We will advocate for information exchange and collaborative defense discussions." General Carter nodded, his decision crystallizing. "Fortify our defenses, but prioritize diplomatic efforts. Admiral Liu, maintain heightened readiness within the fleet, but refrain from forward deployments until we gather further intelligence. Dr. Mirov, ensure ongoing updates on all Gorak-related intelligence. We must comprehend their technology, culture, and strategies." Humanity didn't wait for the Gorak to dictate their next move. In the wake of the initial encounter, their vessels materialized above Mars, a pivotal hub for Earth's space mining ventures and a strategic outpost for the United Earth Space Fleet. The Red Planet, teeming with burgeoning colonies and invaluable resources, found itself unprepared for the ensuing onslaught. As the foremost Gorak ship materialized from a spatial distortion, alarms blared throughout Martian settlements. The sheer magnitude of the vessel's presence cast a foreboding shadow over entire colonies, its mere existence a palpable threat. Then, with abrupt ferocity, the Gorak unleashed their weaponry. Precision energy beams lanced out, wreaking havoc upon Martian defenses and urban centers. Buildings disintegrated under the intense onslaught, panic spreading as swiftly as the fires. Lieutenant Niak Kim, commanding the Martian Aerial Defense Squadron, swiftly mobilized her fighters into the darkening skies. Her directives were unmistakable: safeguard the civilians and impede the Gorak assault at any expense. Within the confines of her fighter jet's cockpit, Lieutenant Niak Kim found herself immersed in a singular reality as she led her squadron in audacious sorties against the alien invaders. The Gorak vessels retaliated with chilling efficiency, their advanced defensive mechanisms swatting aside human fighters with ruthless precision. Each sortie exacted a toll on Niak's squadron, but each also afforded the colonies below invaluable moments to evacuate. Amidst the chaos on the ground, the evacuation efforts unfolded with a blend of disorder and discipline. Civilians streamed into subterranean shelters and transport crafts, their countenances etched with both apprehension and unyielding resolve. Mars had long been a harsh abode, and its inhabitants were intimately acquainted with adversity. In the depths of orbit, the conflict raged unabated. Recognizing the futility of direct assaults, Niak swiftly altered her approach. "Squadron, form up on me! We're aiming for their sensors, let's blind them!" she commanded through the communication channels. The fighters rallied around her, swooping down in a compact formation to target the relatively vulnerable sensor arrays of the Gorak flagship. While the maneuver yielded partial success, several sensor pods were obliterated, sowing chaos among the Gorak fleet. It came at a steep price. The fleeting triumph afforded the Martian forces a glimmer of hope and additional time, yet the toll exacted was severe. Niak could only watch in anguish as more of her comrades fell victim to the merciless retaliation, their jets igniting into fiery oblivion against the vast expanse of space. Back on Earth, General Carter's gaze remained fixed on the live feed from Mars, his jaw set in determination. The Gorak's ultimatum loomed large: surrender or face annihilation. Yet the concept of surrender ran contrary to humanity's spirit. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, a chance to resist, to gather knowledge, and to retaliate, submission remained an alien notion. With the final transports departing from Mars, General Carter issued the order for a strategic withdrawal. While Mars had fallen, Earth would not falter. The war had commenced in earnest, and it was Earth's turn to ready itself for the impending onslaught of the Gorak Empire. Although the loss of Mars stung deeply, it also served as a rallying cry reverberating across human settlements. Humanity refused to fade silently into the abyss. The battle for their homeland had just begun. In the aftermath of Mars's fall, Earth's reaction was swift and resolute. The remnants of humanity's space and terrestrial forces were mustered to safeguard the homeworld. Every available vessel, be it civilian or military, was commandeered and refitted for combat. Across Earth, a somber determination permeated the atmosphere. The loss of Mars served as a harsh reminder of the stakes at hand, galvanizing the populace. Amidst the aftermath, Dr. Lucas Brandt, a prominent physicist and engineer, emerged as a pivotal figure in the burgeoning resistance. Having previously delved into theoretical weaponry, he now found himself presented with both the opportunity and necessity to translate his most audacious concepts into reality. With the endorsement of the United Earth government, Lucas and his team toiled ceaselessly in a secure subterranean facility, laboring to devise a weapon capable of tipping the scales against the Gorak. Meanwhile, General Carter launched Operation Shield, a comprehensive strategy aimed at fortifying Earth's defenses through a combination of orbital and ground-based systems. The skies above the planet bristled with satellites and drones, repurposed for both combat and surveillance purposes. Across every city, defensive measures were reinforced, transforming urban landscapes into formidable strongholds poised to repel the looming Gorak threat. As Earth prepared for the inevitable onslaught, Captain Mara Jensen, fresh from her pivotal encounter, was entrusted with the leadership of a specialized task force. Comprising elite pilots, engineers, and soldiers, this group was tasked with evaluating and deploying Lucas's groundbreaking invention. Their training took place in utmost secrecy, concealed from potential espionage, within a secluded base nestled on the lunar surface. The weapon, christened the Pulse Disruptor, had been meticulously crafted to exploit a potential chink in the Gorak shields, a vulnerability unearthed from the data amassed during initial encounters. Capable of unleashing a potent surge of electromagnetic and quantum energy, the Pulse Disruptor held the promise of temporarily destabilizing the Gorak's formidable energy defenses, rendering them vulnerable to conventional assaults. The opportunity to put the weapon to the test arose unexpectedly when intelligence reports indicated an imminent approach of a Gorak scouting party toward a lunar mining colony. It was a modest fleet, yet armed with sufficient firepower to pose a formidable threat. Captain Jensen and her task force embarked aboard stealth vessels, each equipped with the inaugural prototypes of the Pulse Disruptor. As the Gorak ships ventured within range, an air of tension permeated the task force. They understood that this was their singular opportunity to demonstrate the transformative potential of Lucas's invention. With a subtle nod from Captain Jensen, the Pulse Disruptors sprang to life, emitting a radiant cascade of energy directed at the approaching Gorak vessels. The impact was immediate and exceeded even the boldest expectations. The Gorak shields faltered and collapsed, leaving their ships vulnerable. Swiftly capitalizing on the opening, the task force unleashed a relentless fusillade of missiles and lasers, targeting the exposed enemy vessels before they could regain their defenses. The skirmish unfolded swiftly and ruthlessly, culminating in the annihilation of the Gorak scouting contingent. Buoyed by the triumph of the Pulse Disruptor's inaugural use, Earth's military strategists discerned an opening to transition from defensive to offensive maneuvers. Commander Sophia Reyes, renowned for her tactical acumen, was entrusted with spearheading a daring operation: infiltrate a Gorak vessel to gather vital intelligence. Leading an elite cadre of specialists skilled in combat, hacking, and alien technology, Sophia meticulously orchestrated their preparations. Their audacious scheme entailed utilizing a commandeered Gorak scout craft, discreetly modified to evade detection, to approach and dock with one of the larger enemy vessels under the guise of distress. As Sophia's team closed in on the Gorak vessel, an air of tension gripped them. The Gorak were notorious for their unforgiving efficiency, where even the slightest misstep could spell capture or worse. The modified scout craft, now emitting distress signals in Gorak code, cautiously approached the looming enemy ship. After an agonizing wait that seemed to stretch on indefinitely, they finally received clearance to dock. Upon boarding, the team swiftly neutralized nearby security systems using a virus developed by Lucas's team, meticulously crafted to disrupt Gorak software. They divided into two factions, one venturing towards the engine room to glean insights into Gorak propulsion technology, while the other made their way to the ship's bridge to access the central mainframe. Traversing the labyrinthine alien passageways proved disorienting, as the vessel's architecture defied human logic with its non-linear and intricate design. The corridors were adorned with pulsating lights and adorned with enigmatic metallic textures that seemed to ripple faintly at their fingertips. In the engine room, Lieutenant Marco Diaz, the team's engineer, swiftly initiated the data download from the ship's power systems. Simultaneously, Sophia and her team reached the bridge, encountering minimal opposition due to their stealthy approach and the distraction of the ship's crew with other duties. On the bridge, Sophia connected a portable device to the Gorak mainframe, initiating the transfer of crucial data: fleet movements, weapon specifications, shield frequencies, intelligence of paramount importance that held the potential to shift the balance of the conflict. As the data transfer approached its conclusion, an alarm blared throughout the ship. Their presence had been compromised. "Time to move!" Sophia commanded sharply, prompting the team to swiftly retreat, retracing their steps toward the awaiting scout vessel. Tall and formidable Gorak soldiers, clad in shimmering metallic armor, began to converge on their location. Employing stun grenades and precise bursts of firepower to avoid lethal engagement, the team fought their way through the encroaching forces. Reaching their ship just as Gorak reinforcements closed in, Sophia and her team scrambled aboard, hastily launching themselves into space. They narrowly evaded the clutches of the alien soldiers, hurtling toward Earth. Meanwhile, the invaluable data they had secured was already in transit, destined for General Carter and his strategists. Armed with critical insights from Commander Sophia Reyes's audacious mission, Earth's military and scientific communities forged a tight-knit collaboration to confront the looming Gorak menace. Dr. Lucas Brandt and his team, emboldened by the triumph of the pulse disruptor, toiled ceaselessly to amplify its efficacy and assimilate Gorak technologies into human arsenals. Meanwhile, Captain Mara Jensen, at the helm of Earth's most advanced fleet, assumed command for the pivotal next phase of the conflict. Leveraging newfound intelligence on Gorak shield frequencies and propulsion vulnerabilities, Mara's fleet underwent rigorous enhancements, including upgraded pulse disruptors and experimental armaments. As Earth readied itself for a decisive offensive, General Rahim Carter orchestrated a series of strategic feints and diversionary maneuvers across various sectors to stretch the Gorak forces thin. This strategic maneuver aimed to create an opportunity for Mara's fleet to deal a decisive blow against a pivotal Gorak outpost. Their target: a strategic Gorak supply depot nestled within the asteroid belt, serving as a linchpin for logistics and fleet replenishment throughout the solar system. The assault was meticulously orchestrated, with surprise serving as the linchpin. The operation commenced under the cloak of darkness relative to the sun, reducing the risk of detection by Gorak sensors. As they neared the depot, tension permeated Mara's fleet. Every soul aboard understood the gravity of the mission. Success could profoundly undermine Gorak operations, tilting the scales of the war decisively in humanity's favor. At Mara's command, the fleet unleashed a coordinated onslaught of the upgraded pulse disruptors. The Gorak shields, taken aback by the pinpoint frequency disruptions, buckled under the assault. Mara's vessel surged ahead, breaching the now exposed defenses of the depot. The ensuing skirmish was intense, with Gorak defense units reacting swiftly despite the unexpected attack. The void around the depot brimmed with lasers and energy projectiles as both factions engaged in relentless combat. Yet fueled by desperation and emboldened by recent triumphs, humanity's forces fought with unparalleled resolve. In the midst of the turmoil, Mara skillfully piloted her flagship, the Resolute, into the epicenter of the depot. Deploying ground teams, they swiftly embarked on a mission to sabotage the critical core systems. Explosions reverberated through the facility as vital components were obliterated, dealing a crippling blow to the Gorak supply chain. With the objective accomplished, Mara issued the order for a strategic retreat, her ships providing cover as they withdrew from the now devastated depot. Recognizing the extent of the damage, the Gorak found themselves unable to mount a meaningful pursuit. The triumphant raid was hailed as a pivotal moment across Earth and throughout human colonies. Word of the triumph spread rapidly, igniting a surge of morale and instilling hope in those who had weathered a string of defeats in preceding months. Beyond its immediate impact, the attack held profound strategic significance. Not only did it deplete Gorak resources, but it also showcased the prowess of human innovation and adaptability in the theater of war. With the Gorak now cognizant of the evolving human threat, they were compelled to reassess their strategies. For humanity, the victory transcended mere tactical success. It served as a beacon of resilience and testament to their capacity to retaliate against an ostensibly indomitable foe. As Earth braced for the ensuing phases of the conflict, a renewed sense of optimism permeated the populace, bolstering the belief that triumph, albeit arduous, remained within reach. In the aftermath of the triumphant strike on the Gorak supply depot, Earth's strategic command detected a pivotal shift in the war's dynamics. However, the Gorak Empire, smarting from their losses, mobilized for a colossal retaliatory strike. Their target was unequivocal: Earth itself, the nucleus of human defiance. General Rahim Carter, acutely aware of the impending onslaught's gravity, orchestrated Earth's defenses into a formidable bastion. Cities were reinforced, orbital platforms bristled with armaments, and the newly erected planetary shield, hastily derived from adapted Gorak technology, faced its inaugural real-world trial. As the Gorak armada loomed ever closer, an uneasy tranquility settled over Earth. From the nerve center, General Carter stood vigil alongside fellow military brass, flanked by Captain Mara Jensen, who had resumed her role orchestrating the Space Fleet's defensive strategies. Providing live updates on technical operations, Dr. Lucas Brandt assured the team that all systems were primed for action. Leading Earth's fighter squadrons, Lieutenant Nia Kim readied her pilots for what promised to be their most grueling engagement to date. As the initial salvo of the Gorak onslaught descended, the ferocity of the assault was breathtaking. Towering warships, dwarfing any previous encounters, unleashed a relentless barrage of energy pulses engineered to overwhelm Earth's defenses. The planetary shields withstood the onslaught, casting a radiant glow across the heavens as they absorbed the energy. Earth's ground and orbital forces retaliated, their weapons firing in a spectacular display of resistance. Mara expertly guided her fleet, strategically targeting the vulnerabilities of the Gorak forces. The conflict unfolded like a high-stakes game of chess, each faction continuously adjusting their strategies in response to the evolving battlefield. Facing diminished effectiveness with their conventional assault methods, the Gorak introduced stealth fighters, designed to penetrate the Earth's defenses unnoticed. These new threats wreaked havoc, prompting Nia Kim to take to the skies, leading her squadron in a daring counteroffensive against the Gorak's elusive fighters. The skies roared with the ferocity of aerial combat as Earth's pilots leveraged their advanced training and technology to meet the enemy onslaught. In a bold maneuver, Nia succeeded in downing multiple Gorak fighters, opening a path for a decisive counterattack. On the ground, Sophia Reese orchestrated a covert sabotage operation against the Gorak land forces. Her team strategically placed explosives and disrupted enemy supply lines, throwing the invaders into disarray with their effective guerrilla tactics. This forced the Gorak to reallocate resources to reinforce their positions. The battle's momentum shifted dramatically with the introduction of Dr. Brandt's latest creation, a powerful orbital disruptor. This device unleashed a pulse that temporarily crippled the Gorak fleet's engines and communication systems, seizing the strategic advantage for Earth. With the Gorak fleet incapacitated, Mara's forces mounted a formidable assault, devastating a large segment of the Gorak armada. Surprised and severely weakened, the Gorak began a hasty retreat. Seizing the moment, Earth's defenders intensified their offensive, driving the alien forces back into the depths of space. The planetary defenses had not only withstood the assault but had successfully repelled the greatest threat to date. The battle for Earth became a pivotal moment in the conflict with the Gorak Empire. Inspired by this victory, Earth's leadership orchestrated a series of aggressive counterstrikes aimed at further crippling the enemy's capacity for war. Captain Mara Jensen, emblematic of human tenacity and strategic acumen, played a key role in leading these crucial missions. Mara's next mission was pivotal. an ambitious assault on the Gorak Command Center, reputedly nestled within a heavily fortified area near the Orion Nebula. The stakes were incredibly high, as this center was the nexus of Gorak military operations, orchestrating their forces across multiple star systems. A successful strike could debilitate their command network and potentially hasten the war's conclusion. As the fleet readied for the expedition, Mara convened with her crew and allied leaders, underscoring the peril yet critical importance of their undertaking. "This is more than just another battle," she declared with gravity. "It's our opportunity to bring this war to a close. We hit them hard, fast, and we don't stop until the mission is complete." The voyage to the Orion Nebula was fraught with tension, as Mara's fleet remained vigilant against potential Gorak patrols. Upon reaching their destination, they encountered unexpected turmoil. Signs of internal conflict within the Gorak ranks, something their intelligence had failed to detect. Capitalizing on this disorder, Mara's fleet executed a swift and stealthy strike, penetrating the nebula's outer defenses with minimal casualties. The assault on the command center was intense and immediate. Mara led the charge, her flagship, the Resolute, cutting through enemy lines with lethal efficiency, bolstered by precise bombardments from Earth's newly developed long-range ion cannons. As they neared the command center, a Gorak dreadnought loomed unexpectedly from behind the station, unleashing a barrage from its cannons. In the thick of battle, Mara faced a crucial decision. Recognizing a weakness in the dreadnought's design, Mara commanded a focused attack on its propulsion systems. Her strategy was successful. The massive ship was abruptly disabled, drifting helplessly. With the dreadnought incapacitated, Mara's forces seized the moment, initiating a decisive strike on the command center. The confrontation was brutal, and losses were substantial on both sides. Nevertheless, Earth's superior strategies and advanced technology ultimately prevailed. The command center was overwhelmed, its critical systems irreparably damaged. The destruction of their command hub threw the Gorak leadership into chaos, scattering their forces and rendering them unable to regroup. This pivotal victory in the Battle of the Orion Nebula effectively ended the conflict with the Gorak Empire. As the remnants of the Gorak military fled into the void, Earth celebrated its hard-fought triumph. Captain Mara Jensen and her team were celebrated as heroes, their courage and resolve having secured humanity's future against overwhelming odds. With the Gorak threat neutralized, Earth embarked on a new era marked by peace and renewed prosperity, ready to face the future challenges of the vast cosmos together.